And I think we are live today. I want to talk a little bit about the power of alignment. It's a big concept that also has some real specific things that relate to our organization. So alignment is where the various people at your organization, whether they're staff members, board members, volunteers, contractors, clients, when people are all in alignment with each other and in alignment with what you are trying to accomplish, everything runs better. And when you have one or more people out of alignment, it's like a cog in the wheel that can like stuck up the whole thing. I have one of these manual lawnmowers that you push, and the power of pushing turns the blades and actually works kind of like scissors. The blades rotate around inside rather than spin this way. They rotate forward and they cut the grass. But if you get a little twig in there, twig's not supposed to be in there, grass is supposed to be in there, then the whole thing comes to a grinding halt. And you have to like go in and very carefully get the twig out of the blade without cutting your finger off. And that's what happens when we have someone on our team who's not in alignment. So what are some of the ways that we can make sure that our team is an aligned team? Well, one of the most important ways is as we're selecting new people to work with, even if it's our clients, even if it's board members, even if it's just a contractor that we're hiring, we want to make sure that our general ideas and values are in alignment. Now, you've probably heard about core values, right? Core values. They've been everywhere. Know your values. Well, the idea behind core values is really all about alignment. You know how you're going to show up, and then you have this filter to say, hey, if you want to be working with us, we need you to show up in this same way. Now, I have issues with core values from a practical standpoint for businesses. I think they can be hit or miss because values themselves are a mix of beliefs and decisions about how we're going to act, behaviors, right? Choices about behavior and things that we believe in. And when it comes to showing up as individuals, I don't think it matters if we really define the difference between beliefs and choices around behavior. But when we're building organizations, it starts to matter a lot, because if we build an organization that's value-based, but all those values are beliefs, that's actually how we build cults, and we don't want to build cults. So instead, we need to focus really on behaviors that we're saying everybody in our organization has agreed to show up with these kinds of behaviors. I like to call them guiding principles. And then everybody's just kind of acting in the same kind of way. They're doing different jobs. They have different expertises. They're specialists in different things, or they're generalists, but they all maybe, like, let's say behavior we all agree to is we all show up on time and we all end meetings on time, right? That might be a behavior that we've just said, no matter, we can always expect everyone on our team shows up on time. That's the way we've all chosen to behave. And nobody who's leading a meeting is going to have the meeting go over, because we don't do that just ever. Right. So that's an example of an alignment type decision, company-wide. And the bigger the organization, the more important that you specify these things and codify them and bake them into all of your processes. Another area that alignment can be so powerful is when we're thinking about how do we make our organizations more diverse, inclusive, accessible, and how are we more robust against systemic biases and inequities like racism, biases and inequities towards disabilities, towards sexual orientation, gender. There are many, many things that we have biases and inequities around in our society. And we can choose, I love, like, let's just take racism. we might say, it's pretty weak to say, well, we believe racism is bad, right? Like, and you'll hear a lot of criticism about like statements. Oh, yes, we are, Black Lives Matter is important, but it's a little weak as an organization just to say, well, we believe that Black Lives Matter. I'd much rather you say, we're going to make anti-racist choices in everything we do, right? So codifying, see how believing that Black Lives Matters is a belief, right? So in the value bucket, that's a belief. And saying every day we're going to show up and make anti-racist choices, that's codifying a behavior. It's driven by a belief, but it's the behavior that matters. Do I really need to stipulate what belief is driving that behavior in my business, in my nonprofit? If, as long as I'm getting that result, like we're showing up as making anti-racist choices, no, it doesn't matter. We don't need to regulate people's beliefs in that way. That's like too tight of a rein, I think, for businesses, for nonprofits. In your personal life, by all means, have whatever beliefs you want, but let's not build our businesses that way, because then we're actually at risk of baking the opposite, baking biases into our organization, which I hope we all want to avoid. I certainly do. So alignment is so, so important. When you have alignment across all these areas, beautiful things start happening. Amazing things start happening. Opportunities, people show up for you. I once had a very bad quarter in business, and I didn't have enough money to pay my staff. And so, part of my own guiding principles in running businesses, you don't surprise people about money. So I went to let them all know what was going on and that I would understand, that they can leave. We could reduce their hours. They can go get another job, whatever it is. And everybody on my staff said, we believe in what you're doing. We know that you're taking the right steps. And they all agreed to take a temporary cut in pay while continuing to work the same amount. And we just distributed across the board and we kept going. That's because I had this aligned team who all kind of had the same MO about working. I was going to keep working. I also cut my own pay, but I was going to keep working because we all wanted to accomplish the same thing. And we all had the same kind of set of behaviors that we would choose in certain situations. So that's alignment. I feel like, I could just go on all day about the power of alignment. And their alignment is how we get stability. And not to go too deep, in thinking here, but when I think about how do we design a really robust nonprofit or for-profit or any sort of change organization, I'm thinking about how do we balance the right kind of stability so it's not chaos and crazy, right? We need a certain amount of stability in order to come together as humans, right? An organization is just a collection of humans really making things happen. And we build structures and systems and processes to do what alignment does, right? To create stability. And then the other ingredient besides a certain type of stability is we need disruption and we need change. And it's almost like a yin and yang, right? Like we need to be self-disrupting or being disrupted because it's through change and disruption that we have true like innovation and amazing ideas, and we're pushed to do things we didn't think we could. But without the balance of certain types of alignment, we don't have the coordination or the stability to take advantage of that disruption. So thinking about stability, alignment in how we behave, what we believe in, what we think is important is so powerful. And today with my Thrivers in the Thrive program, we actually spent most of our call talking about a webinar we're doing tomorrow on staffing up. And it was just this exciting conversation about wins and what moves people to change. And I found myself thinking as we're having this conversation about the huge impact that this program, or sometimes even just a teeny piece of advice. Like one person on the call said, I showed up to the call, we came up with a plan, I spent a couple hours implementing it, and I brought in $11,000. It paid, basically paid for the whole program, just that, one bit. And so, it's this very gelled feeling. And here I'm thinking, this is what it's like when you have aligned clients. You feel about your clients that it's a partnership, right? It's not just a service relationship. It is a partnership relationship. We are in partnership, making their organizations better, making a bigger impact in the world. That is one of the ways I have chosen to show up. And as a result, I have clients who show up in that way. And with that sense of partnership alignment comes a great deal of accountability, appreciation, joy, success, and the ability to just be open, vulnerable, honest, because we all know we're in it together. No one's there with a particular ego or agenda to have more power or do something right or better. And that's the kind of partnership principle at play. It's my pleasure to be here with you every week, and I will see you again next week. If you want tips like this in your email box, go to pivotground.com/sign up. It's in the comments or the description. And if you want to be part of that conversation in the Thrive program, I encourage you to apply at pivotground.com/application. The link is also in the comments. And you can join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. That is March 2nd, Thursday, March 2nd. Go to pivotground.com/staff-up to register for the webinar. And I will see you there.